Great pleasure right now to welcome to the program one of the best singers in the business, and she has a brand new CD out. It's called A Long and Winding Road. I know she's been touring around the country, around the world, with doing concerts with it. Just back, I believe, from London. We'll find out. It's a great pleasure to welcome Maureen McGovern to the show today. How are you, Maureen?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good to talk to you. I understand you just came back from London. Is that right?
We were in London, and my middle nieces came home to my middle niece's wedding, which was lovely. The diva got to warble during the ceremony, which was harder than singing a concert.
So what is that like when a professional singer has to do like a family gig? That must be interesting.
Well, it is. I mean, it was because it's so emotional, and so yes, it was hard to hold back the tears.
Yeah,
it was
great.
A beautiful ceremony. But yeah, we had a wonderful time in London too. A Long and Winding Road was just released over there, and so we had a great time.
Well, first of all, congratulations on it. I've enjoyed listening to it since I got it a couple of weeks ago, and it features, for those not aware, songs of basically the 60s, right?
Well, they're songs that influenced me on the way to the morning after.
Right.
So they're songs by James Taylor and Paul Simon and Joni Mitchell, Laura Nyro, Carole King, Jimmy Webb, Randy Newman, iconic singer-songwriters from the mid-60s to the early 70s.
That was kind of maybe the last bastion of that type of songwriter, wouldn't you say? I mean, I know there's still great songs written from time to time, but you go back to the Tin Pan Alley days through the 40s and 50s. 60s kind of was the last bastion of that. Would you agree with that? Or?
Well, I think the New York Times has called this kind of writer. These songs, particularly the second half of the Great American Songbook.
Right.
I think when we were listening to them and we were kids, they were just sort of looked upon as, pop music of the day, just kind of, what the kids are listening to. And I think there's a greater appreciation. I mean, they've always been, big hits, but there's a greater appreciation for the incredible craft of songwriting that it was and is, what these writers still continue to contribute to music. And so, I mean, Jimmy Webb to me is just a national treasure. I mean, he wrote so many incredible songs. And "The Moon's a Harsh Mistress" is one of my favorite songs ever, and it's a classic American art song.
He's really underrated, though, isn't he? I mean, you say Jimmy Webb, he wrote so many hits, but it doesn't come to mind immediately, which I think is kind of a shame because he wrote really wonderful melodies, which you don't hear anymore.
Wichita Lineman.
Yeah.
I performed the middle section to MacArthur Park. I call it the Adagio section of that particular song. There Will Be Another Song for Me, where I will sing it, which is stunningly beautiful. And I do a version on the album of By the Time I Get to Phoenix.
Sure.
So there's many classic songs. One of my favorite Desert Island discs, as it were, is his 10 Easy Pieces, which is an incredible album of these hits, but done more introspectively as the writer wrote them, not the pop version of them. And it's just an exquisite album.
MacArthur Park, that's almost like a mini musical in itself, isn't it, when you sing that song?
Right. It's amazing. It's uniquely its own. I mean, it's been done, turned in and out and lounged to death, unfortunately, through the years. But it is a classic piece. I love Richard Harris.
Richard Harris did, a great version of it.
The first three that they did together, yeah.
And then just reading through some of the songs, some of my favorites. I always thought, and When I Die was a great classic of Blood, Sweat, and Tears, right?
Right, but it's sort of been also Laura Nyro's version.
Laura Nyro, right?
The lyricist and composer of it, and I mean, she had a huge body of work, and then sadly died very young, in her 40s. Just an incredible writer. And Carole King, of course, crosses all generations.
Sure.
She's just an amazing songwriter.
59th Street Bridge song.
I'm sorry?
I was just saying 59th Street Bridge song, which people think of as Feeling Groovy, but the real title is 59th Street Bridge song, right?
Right.
Paul Simon, right?
Well, and that song's been heard a million times, too. What we try to do with everything on here is, I wasn't doing a museum piece. I was trying to find what is timeless and timely about these songs still. So we did a jazz version. I sing it just with bass. And my bass player, Jay Lenhart, a great singer-songwriter,
sure.
scats along with me in it. And so it's just a playful, fun thing. But
Jay was just down here in
America.
Jay was just down here in our jazz festival recently, so he's a great
really?
favorite down here, yeah, in Sarasota.
Wonderful. But Paul Simon's America is just a quintessential song from, it sort of sums up the restlessness of, our youth, and it's just a great, great song. And Joni Mitchell, I absolutely love. Everything she's ever written. It just really strikes a very strong chord with me.